Hello, my name's Janet Manning and I'm the Water Management Specialist for the RHS. And I'm sorry, you're not going to see much of my face in this because it's more important that you can see my hands. So I'm going to talk to you about self-watering containers. It's really great that everybody's now growing things at home while we're all stuck at home on lockdown. But I do wonder how many people have thought about how they're going to water everything if we all have to go back to work. So what I'm going to show you how to do is to make a little self-watering container, hopefully out of things that you've got at home from your recycling bin. I've just found an ordinary squash bottle and I've cut it in half in the middle. What I've also done is made a hole in the top. I just use a pair of nail scissors with a sharp point. Just go carefully with that, but it does work. And here I've got a lovely little cucumber plant which I've grown from seed myself in my own homemade compost because I couldn't get hold of any compost as soon as lockdown had started. And I've chosen a cucumber for a couple of reasons. One is they really do like to keep lots of water around their roots. They're one of the first things to wilt in the greenhouse if you're a little bit behind on your watering. And also they've got really delicate stems. They are a little bit prone to damping off problems with cucumbers, so keeping that top surface dry is quite useful, and we'll show you how that happens with a self-watering container. So, having cut my container in half and put a hole in my lid, what I'm going to do is now take a piece of string and I'm going to feed that through the hole in the lid. Like that, and what that's going to do is act as a wick to collect the water and take it up to the plant. So this is going to be my reservoir, and I'm going to put water in it. This is going to be my wick, which is going to sit in the water, and this is going to be my pot plant in the top. I'm just going to tie a little knot in the string so that the string doesn't get pulled through. That's just an ordinary bit of string that I found hanging around at home. If you haven't got any string, you could cut a little strip of material from an old t-shirt or anything that's soft and wickable. Even a piece of dishcloth would probably work. So now I've got a little bit of a bit of string that's going to stick up into the compost, and I've got a long piece of string that's going to dangle down into the water. So I put the lid on the bottle. Okay. Make sure that that little bit of the wick is sticking up into the compost, and then I've got some more of my lovely homemade compost which I'll use for my plant. Let's just make a little dip in the middle. I'm just going to pop that on there for now, and then gently tip my cucumber out of the pot. There's its roots. It's just about ready. It could do with just a few more roots, but that's just about ready to pot on. So once the roots have reached the edge of the pot, that's a really good sign that you can pot on, because then the root ball won't collapse when you tip it out of the pot. So I'm going to then put that into my container and fill in with a little bit more compost, making a mess of my table, but that's okay, we're outside. And there you have your self-watering container. All it's missing is the water. So if we put water in the bottom, pop the string in to make sure that it doesn't matter if that very bottom bit of the soil and the compost is actually touching the water, that'll be fine. And what you should find is now that that water will be drawn up into the compost and you won't need to water quite so often, which is great. And it's exactly 10 days ago that I transplanted my cucumber into it. I filled the water to about the level of the blue cap when I transplanted it, and I just let the water wick up through the piece of string and into the compost, and I haven't actually added any more water for a whole 10 days. So I know that I've got something that can last for 10 days without being watered. It's quite happy, and if you compare it to its two friends, which were grown from the same packet of seed, these I've had to water every day. They're smaller pots, so the one in the self-watering pot looks slightly bigger, but that might be because it's got a larger volume of compost than these. But these have had to be watered every day, and this one survived a whole 10 days without water. It had all the water it needed in the reservoir at the bottom, so now I'm going to have to water it again. So self-watering pots, they really do work. Thanks very much.